So this is a Kenmore dehumidifier. Here's the part number. I don't know if you can see it or not. Model part. I'd already taken this apart before I even thought about taking a video for it, but I had an issue where I came downstairs. Compressor was running, but the whole thing was iced over in the front. Thinking that probably is a compressor, I realized that there's no air movement coming off of this blower. I took the blower off, looked at the motor, got the specifications off the motor. Then when I was looking at the part list, I realized that there is a capacitor down here. This is the old capacitor. It's a 6 microfarad, 250 volt AC and 50-60 hertz. Went on Amazon, found this one. It is also a 6 microfarad, 250 volts AC, 50-60 hertz. So I just tested it. I don't have 3 hands, but I had to hold the switch down while plugging in to get the blower to spin. But everything was working as expected, so it was the cap. I'll be honest, I was too lazy to grab my multimeter for it. The replacement capacitor was $7. I figured I'd just try it, and if it didn't work, I'd just return it. I actually had trouble finding this motor. I guess this unit's older now. So long story short, looks like capacitor. I'm going to try to button this thing all back up, and then I'll test it again once I have everything put back together. Just so you know, if you want to take this blower motor off, there's, let's see the screws, 1, 2, and on the bottom, duplicate 3 and 4. You'll need a pretty long Phillips head screwdriver to get in there. To line up those screws and just tighten them up. As I mentioned, I didn't have to take the fan out completely. If you did, follow this black line. This black shrink tube that's not shrunk has all the cabling in it. All the cabling in it goes to this connector here. Just a simple tab, wiggle, pop right off. Push that back in so it snaps, and then the 2 wires for the capacitor are down here, and I'm going to go tighten this capacitor back up. You can see there's a screw at the bottom. It sits in there, this position with the screw at the bottom. There's a little holder for it. And then for this cover, if you haven't figured out, ground straps are all on the outside. This includes a ground from the power cord, so do not operate this equipment without your grounds, since this does deal with moisture. Little cap goes on the top. That cap I'm talking about, this piece, goes above that piece, over like so, and those screw holes will line up. You'll have to cram these wires through this slot. Make sure all these wires are through their slots that they're supposed to be. Line those screws up. So I have these screws in here. And the next will be the plate that goes in front. It actually drops down in these 2 tracks. This plate here is the front. Go back over here, you'll see how it actually drops into these tracks like so, and that cable will get hooked up to the top, and then we see the screws that will go on. I'll show you where those screws go here in just a moment. There's also screws that go here and here. My pile of screws are over here. The nice thing is, just to note, all black screws go into the black trim pieces. Any screws that go in here are the black trim piece exposed. Everything else will be silver. Actually, you can also just slip the bottom part over, line it up, and then once this gets close enough to the top, you put that on, and then there's a little white locking tab. This goes over that piece so that it doesn't get disconnected. You can see it kind of just slips over and snaps on. So you can see with that now slipped over and snapped on, I actually had it upside down, but if you lift this side up, you can use a flathead screwdriver or even just your nail. Lift this up and it slides down like so. So again, then just put it back on, you just slide it up and on. That keeps this part locked in so this doesn't ever come disconnected from vibration. And now you're going to slip this cover on, line everything up, make sure all your wires and stuff back here are fed nicely through here so they don't get pinched. And then you can see this is one of your screw holes. It's actually in the handle. That's why you need a really long screwdriver to get into that piece right there. But I'll show that in next steps. So I now have this piece all lined up. Silver screw goes in the back here. Silver screw, silver screw, silver screw, silver screw, silver screw, silver screw. That completes the back part. The front side, as I noted before, silver screw right down here, silver screw right here, and actually I believe this is where the other black screw goes, so silver and black. There's also a black screw that goes down here, and same on the other side. Okay, you can see silver screw, black screw, same thing over here. Then down here we have a black screw. Over here we have a black screw. Rotate around to the back side. We have the silver screw in each of the handle holes back here. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And next piece is you actually have to put the back trim plate on. And you can see in the trim plate there's actually these catches on it. So this is the bottom, this is the top. There's these notches here that line up with these notches here. So what you just have to do is line up the back panel with the top and side and just get it to drop in. And then you put your last 2 screws in here. Then for the last couple steps, depending on how you have your setup, you can see this is dirty, but this is my drain hose. So I'm going to insert that back in here. Come around to the front side. Make sure that's lining up. And then just insert it over. And make sure it ends up being flush on the back side. And then I'll hook up my drain hose that goes to my sump pump. And then because we took this part, we have to slip the filter back in with the front noted down here. Slips back in. And you still got to put the water basket in even though I'm not using it. Now the moment of truth is I want to make sure when I turn this on, the blower mower works, and make sure my keypad works, that I hooked everything up correctly. So I got a light on there. And I'll go ahead and hit my power button. 57. See if the unit. There we go. It's working again. This simple $8 fix, $8 capacitor solved that problem. And then I'm going to hook my hose back up to it and I'll be done. Hopefully you find this helpful for your model. Here again is the nameplate, the model information.